Welcome back, guys. Let's go into some reasons why men don't want to enter the workforce. So, the workforce, guys, working regular jobs, minimum wage jobs, like any job you can get on the street, most of the time is not really desired by men, right? Men don't look at a job at McDonald's as something like, hey, I want to go work there, right? Or, hey, I want to go work at Walmart, or, hey, I want to go work at Target, right? Men, guys, you have to realize that our psychology and our hardwiring is designed to create resources. So yes, we have a inclination to go and work, right? We have rugged bodies, right? We have testosterone, our hormones, right? So we have a lot of inclination to go out there and create resources, right? To provide value to the marketplace. But the issue arises when men are at home, right? Typically younger guys, they're living with their parents, right? Or they're in college. And life is comfortable, right? Like you're being provided for, you have your parents as a safety net. You're in school, you have your dorm, right? Maybe your parents are covering your costs for your tuition, right? So men are looking at it like, I would say, especially in like high school and college, right? Like that 18 to like 24, 25 range, which is a lot of guys, right? They're looking at the labor force as something like, dang, I'm trying to avoid that at all costs, right? Like, do you seriously, when you go, like, if you ever go to like McDonald's, like, and, order like French fries or whatever, any order, do you seriously look at like the people there and be like, damn, I want to go work there with these people? Right? Like and like I said, I mean, I'm not shitting on people who work fast food, right? Like everyone needs a job and, we need people who can do stuff like that, right? But do you really think someone's looking at like McDonald's or like Walmart or anywhere and being like, dang, I want to go work here with these people, right? I want to go work here with all these miserable people who are pretty much like bottom of the barrel when it comes to how much money they make, right? Like, and that's, again, I'm not shitting on these people. I'm just really describing like the factual reasoning as to why like guys are looking at it like, yo, like, why am I going to go work here with these miserable people, not get paid shit, right? The job's fucking boring. It's monotonous, right? Like, and seriously, like these jobs, they suck, right? I'm not going to sugarcoat it, right? I don't want to sit here and try to sound like these jobs are like fun or they're like something that you should like do long term. Like, your goal, honestly, like on a side note, like if you're working a minimum wage job, your goal should be to get out of there as soon as possible and get into something else, right? So, and here's the thing, right? Like guys who were in college, right? Typically, I'm really talking about like students and younger dudes. You're still in school, right? So with your bachelor's degree, typically employers, right? They'll validate like you having a bachelor's degree, right? Like that's a preference for a lot of jobs still to in this day and age. I mean, that's slowly eroding as time goes, but I would say like going into it, like if you're an employer, right, and you're looking at like a 24-year-old guy or 25-year-old guy just graduating, right, with no work experience, hasn't worked a day in his life, right? Are you seriously, and again, I'm sure there are some cases, but are you seriously going to consider that man or that guy qualified to handle a top or medium to top position in any job? Like, are you gonna, I mean, I'm sure you could, right? Like, based off of maybe appearance or personality, but a lot of times, employers, I would argue, look at experience, right? Like experience is the number one thing I would say that gives you leverage in the job market. Now, obviously there are other factors, but as a young guy, right, like you don't have experience if you haven't worked before. So that college degree, that degree is, the bachelor's degree or whatever you have, that's great and everything, but that doesn't discredit the need for work experience, right? That doesn't validate you to now have a free pass to a senior position or a high earning job, right? Or a high earning position in a corporation, right? So, I think, deep down we understand that like we need to build our value. We need to sort of prove ourselves to the world, right? And again, I don't like saying that. Like that doesn't sound sexy to me, saying that I need to prove myself to someone else. But that's the truth, right? Like people will judge you and people will look at your past experience and people will look at your work ethic, look at your habits, look at your like how you handle people, how you handle situations, and judge you based off of that and evaluate whether you're ready for a higher earning position or not. So again, these are just some reasons why I think a lot of us know, like deep down, like, damn, like I'm probably not going to get a high paying job until I'm in my mid to late 20s at earliest, right? Like, it sucks, right? Because like I always say, like, men have to build their value, right? And I think we know that. Like, we have to suffer low wage positions. We have to suffer jobs that suck for years and years and years on end until we either build up the capital to venture into something on our own, or we decide that, we want to, invest into assets, whatever. Again, like everything's a stepping stone, right? So if you're in a position right now where it's like you're working these minimum wage jobs, like I wouldn't say like you should quit and, go like just do sporadic things here and there, like be just a jack of all trades and try a whole bunch of shit. Like, no, but you need to save your money. You need to leave your parents' house, right? Like you need to start investing, right? You need to start looking at like what's available, start doing research, right? And as you progress year to year as a guy, right? Like you get better, you get more intelligent, you gain more experience, right? And that's what evidently gives you the high earnings that you desire, right? Because let me tell you something. Men are happiest and men are the most fulfilled and just doing the best when three things are really on par: our health, our money, our wealth, and our relationships, right? So let's break that down. So if guys are unhappy, if guys are unhealthy, if guys are fat, overweight, right? They're not happy, right? I don't care what you say. Your hormones are fucked. Your dopamine receptors are probably fucked up from all the junk food, all the porn, whatever. You're not exercising. You're not moving your your lymphatic system. Your blood flow's not going anywhere, right? So you're probably not happy, right? Second to that is money. If you don't have money, you don't have any momentum. You don't have any way to move in life. You don't have any decision making, right? And that's the thing that sucks too. Like having a lot of money gives you power to make decisions, right? Now you can obviously make little decisions that don't involve money on a daily basis, like your habits and stuff like that. But I would argue like big decisions like, hey, like moving out of your parents' house, right? Buying a house, quitting your job, investing into school, investing into an education, right? That's going to pay you. All of that requires capital, right? So if you don't have capital as a guy, it's hard to progress. It's hard to, rise up Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? And third to that is relationships, right? Like, and I'll break it down in two ways. Like if you're, okay, let's do health first. If you're healthy, if you're in shape, right? And if you're making money, or at least you're trying to, right? And you're learning, right? And you're being, you're just trying to become better year after year, right? Other dudes who are your age, right, will most likely want to connect with you, will most likely just want to be around you because you're moving somewhere. Now, you might not be at a super high level or have a lot of clout or money or status or whatever, right? But you're at least in the right ballpark to be able to network with guys who are on the same page as you, right? And in the Bible, it says iron sharpens iron, right? So guys are generally going to want to network with people who can help them or motivate them or inspire them, right? Like no one wants to be around a guy, especially like me personally. I'm sorry, but I don't have any male friends that aren't focused on making money or aren't in the gym. Like it just, and again, I don't know if this sounds vain or egotistical, but I really just don't want to be surrounded by guys who are just not doing anything with their life, right? Like it's uninspiring, it's depressing, and it feels hopeless, right? So if you're making money, guys are generally going to want to network with you or at least want to, be around you, right? And then relationships, right? Like we understand deep down that women don't want us if we don't have money and we're not in shape. If you are, now I don't care how much game you have. I don't care how funny you are. I don't care how flirtatious you are. I don't care how good you are at texting and whatever. All that shit goes out the window once the girl finds out that you're either a bum, you live with your parents, or you just don't make enough money to survive, right? Because again, no matter what, I think and again, as far as dating goes, I think it's better for guys to get in shape and make a lot of money, especially in the first, especially in your 20s and especially into your 30s, and just not focus on women. Because again, you can always work on game. Game is something you can always, you can always go out to nightclubs, you can always go out to bars, or you can always go just talk to girls anywhere. Girls are everywhere, right? They're not going anywhere. But you know what? Your time and your energy that you have to build yourself up, that doesn't come back after a certain point, right? Like time is something we can never buy back. So as far as relationships and women go, like they're not going to want to be with you if you're fat, if you're overweight, if you're out of shape. So how does this connect to why men don't want to enter the workforce? Well, it all comes down to status and not having the ability to mate. Like, do you really think, for example, and I don't want to sound like, or this might sound like it very depressing or very primitive or very atheistic. Like this is like not godlike or not noble or not, I don't know what you would call it, but the purpose of life as a human being in this 3D finite existence that we have, limited to the human perspective, is reproduction, right? That is the main goal. If we don't reproduce, there is no more game. There's no more life, right? So when our reproductive chances of mating is hindered or it's looked at as like not, it's not going to be successful, we don't want to be involved in it. Like, do you think like working at a minimum wage job is going to give you the best options with women? No, obviously it's better than no job, right? But I'm trying to make a point that guys are looking at it like, yo, like I want to find something that pays a lot, so I have a chance to be with a woman and reproduce and have a nice family and live somewhat comfortably. I think if you ask every guy that, I think they would say that that's what they would like. Right now, obviously there's some variation to it, right? But I would argue that most guys want that. Most guys would be like, yeah, like damn, like a 6-figure salary, 40-hour a week, like, and that would, I think, obviously, and then being in shape, that would give you more of an odds to reproduce and be successful with the opposite sex. So again, men are very opportunistic. We are very materialistic when it comes to our pursuit in different things, like, our looks, right? Our status, the amount of resources we have. Like those are all very opportunistic, materialistic things. But again, in this 3D finite realm, that is what we are focused on doing 90% of the time, right? So yeah, that's why I think a lot of, young dudes just don't want to enter the workforce. Like you look at it like, why am I going to go? And I understand it, right? Now I'm not validating it. I'm not saying it's the right way to go, but I can look and be like, yeah, women they have super high standards, right? They want so many different things. They want just the total package, right? They want a flirty guy, a funny guy, a guy who has money, a guy who has other women, a guy who's popular on social media. Like they want you to be 100% perfect, right? So as a guy, especially if you're younger, like you're looking at it like, dang, I have nothing right now. I don't have a house, I don't have a job, or I don't have a high paying job. So again, it sucks. Like you have to start out somewhere, but I think most guys just look at it like, yeah, like this is just not worth going into, because it's just like, yo, like my odds of reproducing are going to suck. And why am I going to work 40, 50 hours a week flipping hamburgers to not even have a chance with a woman? Like that sucks, right? So, but again, the truth is though, is like you have to start somewhere, right? Now I'm not saying everyone has to get started doing shit like that. Obviously, your skill set can get you to a better position, right, than just a minimum wage job. But like just your average dude who's just living at home doing nothing, like that's really, I think, where the sentiment is based off of. And again, it sucks, but hey, and I hate to say this, but not every dude is designed to reproduce. It actually, in our ancestral past, about only 40% of men reproduce. So, and again, that gap is actually shortening now because there's just so much there's so many average guys nowadays. Like women are just like, most dudes are invisible, right? Like, I mean, I don't know if you've heard the statistics, but I think about 80% of women swipe right on most guys, right? Or like 80% of women find most men unattractive, right? They only want, or most women find 80% of men unattractive. So they only find about 20% of guys on dating apps as attractive, right? So the pool of men that are viable for reproduction is getting slimmer as we progress as a society. And again, I mean, I don't like that, and I mean, this is why I make YouTube videos talking about what I talk about, but that's just the state we're in as guys. And I mean, you know, I think maybe it's improving, but I don't think it is. And again, it's sad to me, right? But again, if you're a guy watching this, you have to save yourself, right? You can help the people around you. You can help other men around you who want to be helped, but just know, like, you can't help every guy, right? So anyways, guys, that's it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. If you're new to my channel, make sure to subscribe. If you guys have any questions, comments, feel free to leave them down below. And as always, I will talk to you guys soon. Peace.